right. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Park Cities. I'm past President Richard Stanford. Our President Nolan Duck is at his granddaughter's birthday. First things come first. Would our new members stand and be recognized if any of the new members are here? And if not, everybody stand and greet each other. We're going to greet each other for a few minutes.
So I'm doing the happy bugs, introduction here.
Yes. Let's see. We got.
I'll be here. Yeah, I've got experience. I'm better.
Come on up. I'm gonna. Yeah. Give me another 1 minute or so.
MC duties. Ross the hat. There you go, there you go. Yeah.
That ain't bad. All right, I think it's time for us to be seated. The Colonel brought a hat, and I'm wearing it. Bush Combat Center. Thank you very much. Yes, thanks a lot. All right, if you now stand, Daniel DRABINSKI is going to bring us the invocation, pledge, and anthem.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Past President Richard. All right. I tried to incorporate a number of themes here. We'll see if you can pick up on them. But please stand, remove any non-religious headwear. Thank you, Richard. Heavenly Father, as we gather today in fellowship and service, we are reminded of the energy and enthusiasm that fill this time of year. With the Olympic spirit in mind, we are inspired by the dedication, perseverance, and pursuit of excellence that the athletes exemplify. Let these qualities guide us in our own endeavors, both in our Rotary mission and in our personal lives. As the new school year begins, we ask for your blessings on the students, teachers, and parents in our community. May this season be filled with learning, growth, and the joy of new beginnings. Grant them wisdom and patience as they navigate the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. We also give thanks for the camaraderie and excitement that the start of the football season brings. May the teamwork, sportsmanship, and unity that characterizes the game remind us of the power of working together toward common goals. As we move forward in our meeting today, let us carry with us the spirit of determination, the hope of new beginnings, and the joy of shared passions. Guide our actions and decisions so that they may reflect the values of Rotary and contribute to the greater good. In your name we pray, amen. Please place your hand on your heart for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for the national anthem. Thank you. You may be seated.
All right, it is Happy Bucks time. Scott's going to bring past President Scott. Now, you may not know, but Scott's the past president of the Lubbock Rotary Club. So past President Scott's going to bring it around. Does somebody have something they want to celebrate with Happy Bucks? Raise your hands and Scott will come to you. Okay.
Sergio.
Sergio does.
Good job, Sergio. You got the mic. I buys you the mic right there.
I'd like to congratulate Jason Graves. He's starting his first meeting for the full-time SBA SMU Cox MBA. So congratulations.
Congratulations. Anybody back here?
Any others?
Tom Swift.
I'm happy because my Bush buddy, Dennis D'Amico, has joined us today. Dennis is cousins with Jim Thomas. Jim has offered generously to give each of you $10 from his winnings from a few weeks ago. So if you'll meet him after the meeting, he'll take care of that.
Thank you, Tom. Anybody, any rebuttal to that? Is that it? That's it.
All right, thanks, Scott. And Scott will come around with the mic. If you can introduce your guests, if you'd stand.
Hi, everybody. So I'm sitting over here, but my guest is sitting over there because I'm not eating lunch, so they're kind of sitting on the side over here. But my guest is Ardash over there. Ardash, can you raise your hand? He's a fantastic CPA here in the Dallas area. This is his first Rotary meeting. Wanted to kind of have him meet you guys and you guys meet him. So please give him a warm welcome.
Great. Thank you. Larry Bishop.
I have two guests today, if y'all will stand up. My husband, Don Bishop, you've met him several times at our different Rotary events. And my other guest is Jay Vallette, good friend of ours. His wife, Lucy's a good friend of mine. And so I said, why don't you come and enjoy this wonderful program we're going to have.
Thank you.
My guest today is my husband, Nick Harper, who's also a Rotarian with White Rock Rotary.
Hey, thank you.
And welcome another club president. This is Vince Montenegro. He's the president of the Carrollton Farmers Branch Club. Farmers Branch, sorry, not Carrollton Farm, my bad. Farmers Branch, and longtime friend, so please welcome him.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah,
That's it.
welcome all your guests. Now, Herb is going to come talk to us about the foundation. Everybody who's an August birthday, stand up. Let's see who you are. Who's a what? August birthday. We've got one. Pam, come on. Right. Come on up, Herb.
Congratulations to all of you. Please take advantage of the opportunity to make a contribution to the foundation. I'm happy to accept your check today or any other day this month. So congratulations again to all of you.
And Sean, for the Marketplace Advertiser.
Thank you. Does anybody remember Chris Short? He was our sergeant at arms. He used to have a blast up here, and it used to make the president, whoever was leading the meeting, nervous because he takes so much time. Someday I'm going to do that. He was funny, man. I remember the guy. He was great. I draw your attention to the back of the program. This is where we raise money for Rotary. Everybody in here has paid a fee to get an advertisement, including C.C. Young, which is a 100-year-old continuing care community, retirement community with over 400 residents, with over 300 staff members. They offer senior-friendly independent living apartments, assisted living, memory care, long-term nursing, hospice, and Medicare rehab on its 20-acre campus. C.C. Young also offers home health care and hospice services in the community. The Point at C.C. Young provides an activity center for residents and seniors in the surrounding community, and listen to the stuff they do, including exercise, swimming, crafts, musical entertainment, Bible study, and lecture and other programs, including presentations by UNT faculty who teach a range of subjects. C.C. Young also operates a 54 apartment community for low-income seniors in Southeast Dallas. Now, here's kind of exciting news. Construction is expected to begin in 2025 on the terraces, a new independent living community on campus with terraces overlooking White Rock Lake. So you can summarize that one of Dallas' first retirement communities now offers the best in the 21st century senior living in Dallas for Dallas seniors. So let's give them a round of applause for advertising.
All right. Now, Susan, come on up. We've got our membership minute.
Thank you, past President Richard Stanford. I have the honor of just sharing with you why Rotary, and specifically why Park Cities Rotary. As many of you know, I transferred my membership from Fort Worth Rotary to Park Cities. Before I did that, I actually visited 3 other Rotarian clubs, was referred by my president from the Fort Worth Club. And when I came into this room, I just knew this was it. They're all great. What drew me to Rotary in the beginning was you're a service organization. You're an international service organization. And honestly, you're so much in alignment with my values. And I'm in this season of my life, in fact, my whole life, I've really been all about being intentional about my values. I have a servant leader heart. My values are relationships, servant leadership, and this club has all of that and more. And I especially liked our strategic initiatives. Very impressed with that we are as a club very intentional about hunger, about wellness, about education, and we're doing things about those. So I want to really align myself with people who want to make a difference like I do, and all of you are just that. So why not do life with people that align with your values and business with people that align with your values? And my last comment, and it really relates to what Sean was sharing with you today about the marketplace advertisement. I participated in that this past year, and I did it really to support the club. It's great, of course, name awareness and so on, but I actually got some business from that, and I was very blessed by that. I want to thank Alice Friedline, that she has a relationship with a nonprofit, and she came up to me after my marketplace advertising that day and said, I didn't know you supported and served nonprofits. And I said, yes, absolutely. So we are doing their strategic 5-year plan. So I love Rotary. And to those guests here today, I hope you come back. I hope you get involved and that you want to make a difference like we do. Thank you.
And now Mark, the king of public image.
Thank you, Richard. I just want to take a couple of minutes today to talk to you about what we do for public image. Hang on just a second. Right? That helps? Okay, that helps. I have the clicker here, but I went over there to do it. Anyway. So, some of you may not know what public image encompasses for our club. Just to give you a short list of things, it's all of our social media, our digital content, media relations, the meeting AV and video production, the PCR marketplace, Shutterbug, the Club Runner website, the Hub Bulletin that Betty does such a fabulous job with. And some of you may not know, we're getting ready to actually launch a video podcast that's going to feature some of our strategic partners in the community. So that's something new that's coming up for this year as well. Anyone who has been involved in our public image, like posting on social media, helping at all, would you please stand? If any of you are in the room, anybody that's helped over the past year or so. There's several of you here. Some of you know that I also serve as the public image team leader for our district going into my 3rd year, and so I get an opportunity to go around to a lot of other clubs and talk about public image. You would rather have our regular programs up here instead of me, but I did want to share just a couple of ideas with you that I share with these other clubs. One is this is a Venn diagram I made, and I want everybody in the club to be aware that public image and membership and the foundation are symbiotic. There's a relationship there. The more we do at public image, the more members we attract, and then we engage. The more members we engage, the more money they donate to the RI Foundation. The more money they donate to the foundation, Greg will tell you, the more money we can get back in district dedicated funds to do more projects, which is an opportunity for more public image, which attracts and engages more members, so it's a cycle, right? It's very important to understand. The other thing I always tell everybody is everything is public image. Yes, there were some people that stood up in the room, but every single one of you is on our public image team, okay? When somebody walks in the door, how they're greeted. When they come into the meeting, or the meetings run on time, are they good meetings, good programs? When we have events, are they good events? Think about the 4th of July parade. That's a huge public image for us, right? But it's not just the press and the social media. It's every day when you are talking to people in your sphere of influence, have a conversation about Rotary. That is public image. So it's up to all of us. Yes, there's all the bells and whistles and the pretty stuff, but I just want everybody to understand that we are all on the public image team, and public image is everything. We have social media. If you use Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn, please connect with the club pages. We have club pages on there and help us share out content. And then, if you don't know, we have our own YouTube channel. We have almost 400 pieces of video content on our YouTube channel now. Every single one of our meetings is done as a live podcast where you see the slides and hear the audio. So you can go back anytime, recap any meetings. You can share any of those meetings with somebody that you want to invite. It's a topic they're related to. Look at the great programs we have. This is one from 2 months ago. You should come next week, right? So all of those resources are available. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you. The volunteer sheets on your table, we've had it there several meetings, but really do need to have people sign up so we can even out and make sure everything's covered. And so please fill that out. It's also online, the homepage, the member center, all that stuff. So if you're not signed up for a couple of things, do that, and on this or online. And now, Van will bring us the ticket. For anybody who's not done this with us before, whoever we call, and Colonel's going to choose a ticket here, and we'll call it out and we'll see who got it. That person gets to choose from the deck of cards, and if they get the ace of spades, they split the pot with the foundation. So it's right, so it doesn't. All right, the last four are 2083. And it's me. So Van, you hold the deck. You hold the deck. There's something fishy about this.
See you in the parking lot.
I'll just go take the top one. Ace of spades. Ace of diamonds. I wish it was the ace of spades. Okay. I get to keep it. Okay. The pot goes. Now we only probably have what, 50 or 60 bucks, 70 or 80 bucks in the pot now, but because Jim won last time, a couple times ago, so we go on. So something seemed fishy about that, but that's anyway. Well, having done that, I've got my cap on, so I'm going to let Jeff Brady introduce the Colonel, our speaker today.
Thank you, Richard. All right. Well, we are excited and delighted today and very fortunate. You may not know it, here, friends, Rotarians, you may not know it, but Aggie Land, as we call it, has become ground zero for testing some of the U.S. Army's newest and most innovative weapons. High-energy lasers that track and shoot down drones, I'm told, hypersonic missiles, and autonomous combat vehicles are all being tested at the brand new Bush Combat Development Complex in College Station. It's housed at a historic campus which served as the Bryan Army Airfield during World War II, and then it also provided jet pilot training during the Korean War. But today, it's the state's first integrated education, research, and testing facility that unites the entire A&M system, the state, and the Army Futures Command. And you may not have heard much about the Army Futures Command, but hopefully we will. It's a massive operation, and today we're lucky enough to have as our guest retired Colonel Ross Guieb, the executive director of this Bush complex. He's a husband, dad, and a soldier for life. But in his new role in College Station, he provides oversight of a unique ecosystem of state-of-the-art facilities, researchers, staff, and faculty, all focused on accelerating modern DoD technology from the lab to the battleground. He's a retired Army colonel with 29 years of service, three master's degrees, a combat veteran, and an Army dad with 2 sons on active duty. So let's give a warm Rotary welcome to Colonel Ross Guieb. So glad you're here.
Well, thanks for the invitation, and you know, the longer you clap, the shorter I speak, so that was pretty good. I'll be pretty short. Thanks for the invitation, and I'm really proud to be here. really representing not only Texas A&M University Systems, but really representing what Texas is doing for national security. And really my purpose here really is to talk to you about what Texas is doing to support the national security ecosystem. A lot of people don't know what's happening in Texas, but what Jeff said is absolutely correct, right? We are focused on delivering some very unique capabilities to not only the Army, I'm Army, but the Department of Defense, right? I want to make sure that your sons and daughters, grandsons, nephews, granddaughters, nieces and nephews, neighbors, cousins, fight an unfair fight because that's what they deserve. And this is really not about building these unique weapon systems or capabilities. This is really about deterrence. Having served 5 times in combat operations, the last thing I want to do is send my 2 sons who graduated from the Corps in harm's way, right? So they're both in the Army, running with scissors. You know, when I commissioned them, I said, it's your turn to protect the Constitution of the United States. I did my part and we passed the mantle. I have an older son who went to UCLA, got into Air Force academies. I don't want to do anything that you did. You were gone so long, so many times. So he's a smarter one. He's, you know, computer engineering guy. So he's gonna fund my retirement. So do we have the next? I didn't get any slide deck. Okay, there's no slide deck. Okay, I thought there was a slide deck. I'll talk a little bit about the campus first. You heard it was an Army airfield. It's 2,300 acres. And it is, we put about $1.6 billion into that campus. And that was really the Chancellor John Sharp since 2016 to where we are now. So a lot of people are like, whoa, that is a lot of money. And it's not just the unique facilities that we have, and I'll talk a little bit about that, but it's also, think about World War II power generation, or World War II sewage. Like, we had to rebuild that to power today's technology, and that costs money, right? And that, it's a great idea, but without resources, it's just a great idea. So it became then an Air Force base. It's Little O'Brien, right? So we're 8 miles away from the main campus. It used to be Bryan Air Force Base, where we had folks like Buzz Aldrin fly there before he became an astronaut. So really the roots of that campus, it's called the Rellis campus, and I'll tell you what that stands for here in a second. It really has its roots in national security. So I was with the Chancellor once, and you know, we're at an event, and I was speaking after him, and somebody said, well, you know, how much did somebody donate to get a whole campus named after him, Chancellor? And he said, well, I'll talk to you about that afterwards. But really what it stands for, it stands for our core values. So it stands for respect, excellence, leadership, loyalty, integrity, and service. That's the Rellis campus. I don't know if he got a donation from that guy, but I know we didn't rename that campus, I guarantee you that. So let me talk a little bit about Army Futures Command before I get into how we partnered. So my last couple of jobs, I was a brigade commander here at what was then Fort Hood, Texas, now Fort Cavazos. And then I went to the Pentagon my 3rd tour, which is more dangerous than any combat deployment. And I was the executive officer to the Secretary of the Army. And he had this idea that we needed to accelerate modernization because for 20 years we were so focused on Iraq and Afghanistan, as we should have been, because we were in a current war. I mean, as a soldier, I benefited from that. That they provided the equipment that we needed to fight and win the next day. So he said, we need to, when things were slowing down, he says, we need to accelerate modernization. He says, we need to create a 4-star command, which the Army still had one 4-star command it was not using. Because Congress and everybody else were like, we're not growing another 4-star. But we had one the Army was not using. So they created that. We had a brief Congress, briefed everybody. We were working with the firm, and they went from 360 places to 5 locations. And I could share those 5 locations afterwards. I'm not going to do that now. But we're in Texas, right? So the headquarters is in Austin. A 4-star headquarters is in Austin, and we moved a $187 billion portfolio from Washington, D.C. to Austin. A lot of people don't know that. And we're in the 15th and 19th floor of a building of a small technical school called UT Systems. That was a joke. That was a joke. I'm allowed one joke. That was it. So we're on the 15th and 19th floor. On the 19th floor, we have a huge JWIX, which is a top secret skiff, probably the size of this place. Nobody would ever know that we're in the middle of Austin. So and then I moved from the secretary's office once we picked that, because he was like, hey, you're going to move again. I moved 24 times, right? Almost 24 divorces. So, okay, that was the second joke. So he said, hey, you're going to move on, and then you got 3 more moves, and if you make 2-star, maybe move some more. And I'm like, nope, done. So he said, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to move to Texas, and I want to stand up Army Futures Command with the commanding general, 4-star. He said, okay, done. One of the very first, and that was August of 2018. So one of the first visits outside of UT Austin, academically, not industry-wise or internationally, we visited Texas A&M. And I'm telling you, when they say they pull up, all the dogs and ponies must have been at College Station, because there was herds of them trying to show this 4-star how we can partner. So they were doing a lot of work in hypersonics, directed energy, integrated autonomy, which is how do you navigate air, ground, ground, air in degraded environments. We're so network-centric. What happens if they knock out the network? Can those machines that are programmed to do certain things still operate? There has to be a lot of technology to do that. Now, hey, we all live with technology, some better than others, but in a degraded or challenged environment, it is really hard, really hard. So they showed us the facilities that they currently had. They said, hey, we've been working with in these areas despite not having a lot of funding from Department of Defense, because you're in a current fight. But here's what we can do. We can build this one-off facility. I'll talk about the first facility. It's called the Ballistic Aero Optics and Materials Test Range. So it's the largest ground hypersonics test range in the United States. The largest of its kind that's similar is owned by the government, run by the Air Force, and it's 300 meters. Ours will be 1 kilometer long. Ours, when I say ours, I'm not saying Texas A&M, I'm saying ours, right? So 1 kilometer long, you'll be able to introduce water droplets, dust particles. I can shoot a 2.6 kilogram projectile, Mach 15. So that's 15 times the speed of light, sound, right? That is fast. So meanwhile, we're collecting data, you're introducing different weather effects, and then there's a soft catch at the end. You know, I always picture like somebody with a baseball glove going, come on, bring it in, bring a heater in. But the soft catch is actually different gases in combination, and it actually slows it down. So then you could do post-mortem on what that rain droplet or dust particle did to that projectile, right? And you could do it over and over and over again. Because one hypersonics flight test from the United States to the Reagan Missile Range in Kwajalein in the middle of the Pacific will cost upwards of $200 million. So you want to get all these iterations done to buy down the tech risk, so when we actually shoot one, we get it right. Because it's going very fast, very quickly. So that's going one way on hypersonics rails. The other way is a tube inside the 8-meter tube, and it's shooting lasers, high-energy lasers going the other way. I mean, this is really like, whoever designed this, they probably left the country because it was so hard, right? Now you have the builders and engineers actually doing it, going, who designed this thing? So we're going to do our first test shot on our hypersonics test shot is going to be the end of summer. And this is going to really make a difference for Department of Defense. And it's really going to make a difference for national security. So that's one facility, right? The facilities are great, and you're going to hear me say this a lot, but it's about the people. We have great research folks that allow us to keep our research, if you know what I mean. Our near-peer adversaries not only want to take our research, but they also want us to pay for our own research and then take it, which we all should be offended, right? And they do that with industry, with business intelligence, et cetera, right? So we have an award-winning security office, and that was really one of the value propositions for Department of Defense working with Texas A&M. So you have that facility, fantastic. And then we have this thing called the Innovation Proving Ground. So this is a curated, landscaped ground maneuver area to test autonomous or manned vehicles. So it has 34 obstacles to test the technical, and then we have another set of obstacles to allow it to fight in the environment it was made to fight in, which is the operational military environment. So we really can put these through their paces, right? And then we have 1,000 feet of airspace that we're allowed to put drones up and down. We don't have to check in with the FAA. They gave us that clearance. So you have that, and then we have a 10-mile beyond visual line of sight corridor that we can fly drones in and around, all coordinated with the FAA. We have the largest 5G outdoor test network. Our partners are AT&T. So this is not a slight investment, and I'll talk a little bit about the investment. The initial seed money was Board of Regents, Texas A&M, 80 mil, the state of Texas, 50 mil, now, and then Army Futures Command, 65 million in the form of research dollars, but now 100 million in research dollars. And again, to help accelerate modernization for Department of Defense. They recently, and this is not part of what we do, just a couple more plugs, and then I'm happy to ask or answer any questions. But they just created a Space Institute. So they were given $250 million. They have an innovation proving ground, which is how we focus on when we land on either lunar or Mars. So everybody's focused on what you do in space. Everybody's focused on what you do in these different areas. That institute's focus is what happens when you land. And then we also have the, a CHIPS Institute that just opened up. That's another 200 million. And then there's there's in public record, there's a potential investment that's coming on board that has to do with chip manufacturing on that campus. And it's, I think, what's on public record, so this is not violating my NDA, is I saw 10 billion with a B. So, you know, with the chancellor like, oh, those numbers really scare you? I go, sir, we moved 187 billion from Washington, D.C. to Austin. I said, that does not scare me whatsoever. This year's football schedule scares me, though. So those are the types of things that are happening for you as Texans. Again, you don't have to be an A&M grad. I turned in my camouflage, and I went to maroon camouflage. But honestly, like, I am a citizen of the United States, and I want to see us not have near-peer adversaries. I want us to continue to be leading in a lot of the areas that we should be leading in. So I'm happy to answer questions or clarify anything, pass the hat for past president. I mean, what?
Lots of questions, I think.
All right.
We'll start with you.
I'm going to get my phone because my mom doesn't believe I speak in public. Yeah, I'll take a selfie.
So I'll resist the temptation to make a joke about an Aggie with his finger on the trigger, but maybe I just did. If I understood you correctly, you're not getting any federal funding, and if that's the case, why not?
We are getting federal funding.
You are getting
in the form of research dollars, right?
Okay.
So if you cannot build facilities unless you have MILCON dollars. That has to go through Congress. What Texas does is help short circuit that, and they just build it for us, right? Because they can. And our biggest customer right now is the United States Army, right? The senior service of our military. However, we work with the Air Force. We work closely with Space Force, United States Navy, the Marine Corps, ODNI, Office, so basically intelligence community. We're not, one-stop shopping in who we're partnered with. It just so happens they were our first and biggest partner. Like, every time I go to speak, Washington, D.C. or wherever, like, I don't want to sound like I'm a soldier marching along. I want to know that this is about, all the services. And, we work with allies too. They just work in a different pace, right? But the 5 Eyes are really important to what we do. Okay, yes, sir.
How large is your drone testing area? I guess a TFR that you have established there. Plus, do you build the drones and do you train the pilots to fly the drones?
No, so that's a good question. So campus is 2,300 acres, so we can fly the drones wherever we need to, up to 1,000 feet. If we need to go above that, we have to coordinate with the FAA. But we also have a corridor that's 10 miles long, goes down to Aggie Farms, and so you can fly a drone beyond visual line of sight down to that location. Now, our sister organization, which is in Corpus Christi, Lone Star Institute, they have a massive drone testing area. They work a lot with the FAA. And what it really is interesting to a lot of other companies is that you can go from sea, water, to land and see how that changes the dynamics of either your visuals or how the aircraft flies. And we don't build our own drones, or we do a lot of counter UAS, so counter drone. So another plug, we have the first high energy laser shot outdoors for the state of Texas, happened about 6 or 7 months ago. And we partnered with RTX, formerly known as Raytheon. And they said, hey, can you do this? And we're like, I don't think we can. I mean, that's a 1.1 kilometer shot, but we actually worked with the state. So when we worked with the state, we had to call their public health and public safety. So the people came down there, and they were great. They were, you know what they were focused on, that office? Medical lasers. Not a 15 kilowatt laser ready to shoot things down, right? So they were like, oop. So we explained to them what our left and right limits. We explained safety. We explained how we were risk mitigation. And they were like, yeah, let's do it. And it just so happened that the House Armed Service Committee chair, his name is Congressman Mike Rogers. He was there from the great state of Alabama on invitation from Texas A&M. It just so happens, maybe, that we had this shot with Raytheon at the same time. The next day he went to the Auburn game, because we weaponize football, right? And I saw him at the Chancellor's tailgate. He was all oranged out, as you should if you're a congressman from there, right? And thank God we beat him. So he left out with his tail between his legs. But it was a very successful trip for him to show how we can do this on these campuses and how we can partner with Alabama. Because there are still politics involved, as you guys can imagine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ross, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
We'd love to have you come back at some point in the not too distant future when there's more. We'd love to have you come back on your route, your speaking route. Two quick questions. Is there this sounds like such an innovative combination of entities that work together. Is there anything like this anywhere else in the country, all throughout California, New York, Pennsylvania? Is there anything else like it?
Nothing at the university at this kind of scale.
Yeah.
Right. So we work. I made a lot of jokes about UT and all that. We work with UT.
Sure.
They were just there working on robotics on the Innovation Proving Ground. So this is not a, there's a lot of competition, but we're competimates.
Second question, it sounds like some of this stuff is borderline classified. Are there some projects that are going on that you just can't tell us about because they are secret?
The answer to that is yes. That's not even a raffle ticket is going to get me to say anything.
I just want to thank you for all your service, and I think A&M's been doing great in the SEC. They beat Alabama first shot out.
They did.
They did, and I'm so excited about Texas joining, and they're going to do great as well. My question, and this is really naive, but I always thought the government's main priority is to protect its citizens. I feel a little more comfortable with this situation down in A&M. So if Iran or North Korea decides to take a strike, are we going to have like an Iron Dome or something? Are you guys going to be out there protecting us?
Yeah. So hypersonics is really hard, right? So North Korea has been doing test shots, and you know where they can range. Basically, they can range mainland, continental United States. But counter UAS, or counter hypersonic, is very, very hard. So you think of a BB flying and then trying to shoot it with another BB. That is really hard. So once you get into, to your point, sir, once you get into the counter hypersonics, the discussion becomes top secret before you even get it out of your mouth. But all those, it's all, I could say this in the unclassified, the sensors, what actually can counter hypersonics? Is it a laser that dazzles the navigation system? Is it another kinetic missile that hits it? There's a lot of different ideas on what the best way to do that. So when everybody sees a drone swarm show, has anybody seen those? Right? You know what, as a serviceman, I think of coordinated attack, right? I look at that and go, man, if they could make that thing dance like a panda, and then it turns into a Mustang, and then it turns into an Aggie, and then it turns into it could make it do a lot of things. And if they had nefarious, ideas on how to intent, then it's really scary. Any other? Yeah.
Any of the research that you're working on, do they have any kind of civilian application as well that's to transfer?
Yes, sir. So a lot of the companies that come in are dual-use technology companies. Because I think small business owners, you know this, or even large business owners, you know this, if the government is your only customer, especially starting out, it could be problematic. But once you get on the gravy train of government, like, hey, it's all good. But you have to keep yourself alive before you land a government contract. And so what we do is we try to pair them up with either companies that can help support them and scale them, or if they want to be acquired, because sometimes I have a big company going, man, we're just looking for a company that can do this. And then in my database, in my head, I go, I just saw a company that can do that. And then you marry them together, and hopefully that it's a good marriage and it's not a hostile situation or toxic.
It looks like Ukraine and Israel have the systems to defend themselves for either drones or missiles. Did we supply? Well, I don't want to ask that question. It looks like they've got the systems over there to handle some of those encounters.
So I think you said this earlier, somebody said this earlier, Iron Dome. That is an Israeli-based system. So when we were building up our own capabilities in anti-air, anti-attack, the U.S. bought, and it's all in public record, right? So the U.S. bought a few Iron Domes. So one is in Guam, for example. You can imagine where some of the other areas are. So in the latest NDAA, one NDAA said to buy a bunch of missiles for the Iron Dome. And then there was another one that came afterwards that you have to sell a bunch back. So you can infer that there's a supply and demand problem with rounds. So that's all an open public source. Ukraine is they're trying to, we're feeding a lot into that area. So I just had a good friend of mine who's going to retire, but he's a deputy commanding general who has the Ukraine mission. He called me before the day he left. I haven't heard from him since. I don't know if he's on the golf course or he's in Ukraine, like shooting down UAVs. Oh yeah, sorry.
Hey Ross, thanks a ton for being here, for doing what you're doing. This is a little more personal question. You have an incredible background and have done some amazing things. And so the question is, what drives you, and how do you pass that on to your sons?
Oh wow, I think now that is personal, right? So, I lost a lot of soldiers in command in Iraq and Afghanistan. You ask yourself, what would they be doing? How they could contribute to national security? I asked myself, was it technique? Was it equipment? Was the enemy gets a vote? What was it that brought them to where their families are now and brought them closer to the Creator, right? So that's what drives me. Public service drives me. Like this, I'm in another state job. I told myself, hey, I'm not going to do federal anymore. I want to do something else that contributes. So like I said, I mean, it's their turn to protect the Constitution of the United States. Not everybody does it, but they're doing it. I said, just do your part. You don't have to do 30 years like me. You can do 4 years, but do something, right? So that's what drives me. And then to see young people really excited about doing national security research. So our Corps of Cadets is about 2,400-ish. Only 40% commission into the military. There's 60% that want to serve, they just don't know how to serve. Sometimes you're not exposed that there's a DOE Sandia lab or Los Alamos lab, or there are different, you can do that as a contractor, you could do that as an engineer, scientist. So, you know, that's kind of part of our secret mission, is exposing young people either that are from rural areas or from the inner city or, you know, suburbia. They're just not aware because their ecosystem that's around them, they're not aware either. Right, but we need the best and brightest to work on these things. You can make a ton of money. I know a lot of people make a ton of money and then they come back into government. Then they go back out, make a ton of money, and they go back into government. I mean, that is a technique. I don't begrudge those people. I know that just serving, you know, capacity in one day is helpful. Right. I don't know. I'm going to get the hook soon, and I got to get this. I got to get this picture to my mom, or else she's not going to believe me.
So do you have students that come to your facility and you teach these students? They're involved in what you're doing?
Yes.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, so we have, so our secret sauce is research engineers. So the research engineers work on their research day in and day out. I have a PhD to bachelor's degrees. And then we have great professors and then students as well. Professors are really busy because they're teaching and they're mentoring these students. Students are really busy because they're trying to graduate. I mean, it took me 2 years to graduate as a senior in high school. So, and then you have research engineers. That's their job. That's the secret sauce, right? Guys, laser focused every day on the job. Like I said, PhD to bachelor's degree, and then there's a pathway to move up, and then students either fall in love with it. I recommended, I can't remember who I recommended it to, like, hey, get an internship, have your young people in your family internship with government or industry. While they're interning, have them get a clearance, because they'll sponsor. And then when you get out, you're ready to go. Like 21-year-old engineer or 21-year-old whatever graduate with a secret clearance, they're pretty sought after. Okay, I think that was it. Oh, and Tim says hello. So our director, Tim, he says hello to Jeff, their classmates, and really the reason why I'm here, because I think I showed up to office late, and they're like, hey, no, it's good. I'm teasing. I volunteer to come here because it gets me out of Aggie Land every now and then. Thank you.
Well, thanks for coming. And we're going. Our thanks is in the form of a book we're going to place in the Jack Lowe Senior Elementary School in your honor.
Thank you so
much. Thank you for speaking. And we'll get some pictures. Come on up, Jay. We're going to get a picture. Come on up, yeah. Put you in the center. All right. The bells are away, yeah. Oh, let me put the bell in.
All right.
I can do it.
All right, thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes. Now, our speaker next week is our district governor, Regina Edwards. So she'll be telling us what's happening in 5810 initiatives and all kinds of fun stuff. So Nolan obviously will be the chair of the day for that one. So if Susan would come forward and lead us in the four-way test.
Thank you. Before I do that, I just want to say to you that I was remiss in not mentioning when I said why Park City's Rotary Club, our legacy of leadership. No one has anything like that. I mean, as a leader, you need to serve before you can lead, and that is the next level. So, and Mark NEACE is the other one. So, in everything we think, say, and do, first, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, it will build good friendships. And forth is beneficial to all concerned.